Hello and welcome to Gunners Unscripted. I'm your host, Jonathan Pierre from Athlete's Blueprint. So you're probably wondering, what's this all about? So I'm on the hunt to speak to Arsenal fans from across the globe to find out why we all love this club so much. Is it the stadium? Is it our favourite players? Or those iconic moments? Or could it just be that we just got a jersey when we were a kid and we just love the club ever since? Stick with me as I find out.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
JJ, it's great to have you on the show this evening. How's it going?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks, JP, for having me. It's good. Just over here enjoying about 70-degree Fahrenheit weather here in Arizona, so no complaints.
Ooh, so yeah, I'm not terribly good at this, but I'm guessing that's about 30 degrees, something like that.
I think it's. I was gonna say 30 right in the summer.
That's a lucky hunch.
As well.
That's a lucky hunch. No, but no, it's really, really good to be able to speak to you. I know that you're a true Arsenal fan, and there's lots we're going to unpack. I think if you just want to go like right way to the back and then just tell us what is it about Arsenal that kind of gets in your heart, and what makes you feel it?
So I'm a passionate fan, just in general, right? So obviously, I grew up watching American sports. I'm 38 years old, so access to the Prem was very tough as a young kid. But I was just a passionate fan. But I played soccer my whole life, football, and I played it my whole life. Sort of how I got into Arsenal was a gentleman named Paul Mariner, which we all know. So I believe he had that game-winning goal for the FA Cup. I'll blow the year out. I forgot what year, but I know they made that little statue of him. Rest in peace. He was the ESPN pundit. He's awesome. He coached actually here in Arizona, so he's a big influence in Arizona for football. He coached some of my best friends. He did not coach me. I actually happened to be on a rival team against them. But Paul was just so when we actually were able to start watching EPL, Paul was like, two of my best friends, like, you guys have to watch Arsenal. Arsenal's the only club you're allowed to watch, pretty much. He's like, it's the most beautiful style of football. You need, it's like almost homework. Well, I was with those guys every day, even though we played for different clubs. So that's where it started, my true just watching Arsenal and the love of it. And so you have to realize, for me, that's one. So we have the king, in his prime. Thierry's just running around absolutely embarrassing people. And let's be real, if you're starting to really able to watch clubs, what a time to watch Arsenal.
Exactly.
And it wasn't that I just went, it wasn't like all the Man City fans now where they go just jump on this winning team. It's just, we were told we had to watch this team. They happened to be good then. So it's just, once I started watching, and then obviously the internet was getting stronger then. Like United States fans, I'll say it, half of them, they all get mad, the football fans, all that, American football. We're a joke. There's so many bandwagon fans here. They jump from team to team. The American football teams could barely sell their stadiums. And then, when you see the passion of the fans over in England, in Europe in general, right? God, that lit fire into me. And I was like, I just, honestly, if Arsenal's on, I don't care if there's American football, any other, the Super Bowl could be on, and the next game's what, Arsenal Fulham. I'd watch Arsenal Fulham over the Super Bowl. It's just so much. I don't know. Like when I watch it, I understand the sport as well, so that helps,
Mm-hmm.
Thierry said it best, Tom Brady throws a 30-yard pass. Everyone's like, ooh, ah. He's like, we kick the ball 80 yards across the field, and the guy brings it down right here. They're just like, okay, they're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
So, to me, I'm like, that was amazing, that pass. So really the fans of Europe got me, lit that passion under me.
Mm-hmm.
And then once it got lit, it's only grown, it hasn't stopped. So,
Yeah.
It's definitely to my best friends and Paul Mariner. was where really got me going.
Amazing. And looking back to that 01 season, as you alluded to at a moment, Henri was doing his thing. When you sort of first said to your friends that also played soccer, football, however we say it, did they also see Arsenal as like the go-to team at the time, or were they kind of picking Manchester United, Liverpool, kind of in through?
No, they're all Arsenal.
Oh,
And again, it was you got to credit Paul on that. It's just he wanted us to watch him, and we fell in love. And not even that, Paul was one of the coolest guys of all time. Be able to interact with him, talk soccer with him, and and he was an Arsenal guy. So for us, it just there's no way we're going to support anyone else. And he was a rival coach to me, but still, he's such a legend that you weren't going to support anyone else. And then once we sort of picked Arsenal, I guess, which we didn't pick Arsenal. Arsenal truly picked us. They sent Paul over here and they picked us and they came to our heart. And once they got in, there was no turning back. I mean, I feel like I literally have a true hatred for Tottenham. I hate United. And I have a good friend who's a Manchester United fan from Manchester. And him and I, we take our digs at each other, but like he'll be like, man, I hope, like he'll never hear me say like, I hope you guys win the league. I'll never say that to him ever. It's
good.
Arsenal or no one.
Good. Exactly. I'm with you.
I will go have pints with him all day and I'll give him a hug. I love the man to death. He's a great dude. But
Yeah.
he has his United shirt on, we're enemies. And it's simple as that until the game's over.
I love that. And I guess, that kind of like tribalism and the excitement of it was kind of at rife in the early 2000s because there was like that era is undisputed. You know what I mean? Like to coin kind of like a wrestling thing, it's like the original Attitude Era. It's when it was at like most exciting, I believe, football anyway. So then back in the day, and you get your first Arsenal jersey. How did that feel?
Oh, it was amazing. It was expensive. Like, I got to come over here. So shipping was fun. So it's actually funny you say that about jerseys because I won't buy an Arsenal jersey with a name on the back anymore. My first jersey was Fabregas. So I didn't get one like right away. So I got it right before he left for Barcelona. My second jersey was Sanchez. And he went to United after.
And we know how that goes.
I had an RPP jersey, went to United, and my last one was a Bunny Hang, and he left right after. I'm like, so I have a jersey now. I'm just like, no name on the back. I'm like, because they end up leaving like right away. So the superstition kicks in. I'm like, there's no more names now. It's just pure Arsenal. But yeah, I mean, I have the old JVC jersey. I have about 6, 7 jerseys. That's one thing I'll tell you, man. You guys switch jerseys quite a bit over there in Europe. It's like every year there's like 3 new ones. I'm like trying to keep up and stuff.
Yeah, I know. And then on top of that, you've also got the training kits. You've got the one-off kind of like limited edition kits for
right. And
like
it's so hard not to get
tournaments. Yeah.
But yeah, and then if you want a vintage kit, grabbing those but yeah, it's I mean, so I have a bunch of Arsenal shirts, but yeah, it's grabbing that. Once I got that first one, you sort of feel like okay, it's official now. But I have been a fan for quite a while, but finally, obviously got a jersey and made it official, and finally got to Europe and did all that stuff. So
yeah, amazing. Back then, when you were, you had your first one with the Fabregas on it, were people in the US sort of confused? Were like, who's that or what's that? Or did they? Did they were like, what is this sport?
So in that time, and we almost got, I'm not going to say made fun of, but like we had like 5 fans at our soccer games for high school and stuff so it just wasn't around. Like unless you played it and that's why people don't get like, so playing my whole life, that's also where passion comes from. I realize how this is clearly the greatest sport in the world. There's no questions asked. I can't tell you how many arguments I get because clearly I live in Phoenix, Arizona, and everyone thinks American football is the greatest sport, which I'll tell you right now, it's so hard for me to even sit through a whole game. It's 7 minutes of action is that because we stop. There's so much stop. It gets so boring to me. So Where, as you know, all soccer, it's just nonstop and it's amazing. So, but yes, people definitely started like, first off, what's that last name? I'm like, what do you mean, the little Spaniard? You don't know this guy? Like, they're very confused, and I explained to them, just like, and then they probably literally talk trash on soccer. And I just laugh. I'm like, you have no clue. But I will say today, uh, people, I get yelled at because they're a Tottenham fan or they're a Chelsea fan or they're
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's awesome. That's cool. I'll take that, all day. But so it's definitely grown a lot here, but it took some time.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess, obviously talking present day and we're looking forward to the World Cup next year. It's in your back. Well, it's not a back garden, but you know what I mean. It's in your homeland, so
Yeah,
it's going to be. Are you hoping to go to some of the
that's
qualifiers?
the plan. Yeah, to tell you the truth, this would be yes. I'm going to go because it's in my backyard. But I'll tell you now, I'd much rather go to one in a different country because you get to sort of experience. You get to experience the country, and all that. So I think it would be more fun because like I go to LA a lot. I go to Dallas. Like, no, it's cool, but the fun part is getting to watch the Portugals, the
Mhm.
England, Spain, and all that, Argentina. So that is just, and I get to do it for a lot cheaper than if it was in the UK or Australia.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to say it's not. The UK isn't known for its sustainable. It's not like Germany. It's not like Germany. Let's put it like that. In Germany, you can go watch Bayern Munich for I don't know, like €30 or something like that. Whereas, as you'll know, a day out, even if you're in London and you go to watch Arsenal, it's still going to cost you like £100 or something.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the last Arsenal game I went to, I was very top row, $500. Now, I will say it was against United last year. United was doing well. That's when we beat them 3-2, and Eddie had that like 93rd minute goal to win it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's where that ball came in. He like did that little back flick. Like his back was to the goal and just sort of flicked it in.
Yeah,
And I had literally had, I think, 40 grown men. Yeah, I think I had 40 grown men hug me who I had no clue where, and I was having the time of my life. I mean, I was on the very top. I think I ended up like 5 rows below because everyone was just sort of tumbling over each other. But it was $500 or euros. Is it euros?
pounds, something like that.
Pounds. There you go.
Yeah,
So pounds. Uh, so it's expensive, but again, I got it at the same time because United they were playing amazing and Arsenal were playing amazing. So it was one of the games of the year, and it ended up being probably the game of the year, or not one of them.
100%. And that season for us last season was. It was. Do you know? I still sometimes watch that run where Son is heading towards Ortega, and
It's on
I just
purpose.
think, dude, just you score this like every single time.
He's literally one of the greatest wingers in the world, and
It was, yeah, it was just like,
he's probably one of the most. And I hate saying this because he
yeah.
wears that awful jersey, but he's probably one of the most likable people out there.
Oh, I love Son.
Stuff on him, and seems like the most amazing person. I was like, man, you had me about for 3 minutes where I didn't like it. Really, I just couldn't stand you. It wore off. I was like, come on, son, you got to put that away.
If that was any of, see, I have a theory that the reason why he's not been as good this season is because he did that on purpose.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like fallen off a little bit because of.
The soccer gods got him, man. Like,
Yeah. Because they knew that he was supposed to score and he didn't.
Right. 100%.
Oh man, so obviously doesn't come without pain, should we just say. Thankfully, the last 5 years have been better than the previous 5 years before Mikel came in. As a fan, and kind of the culture in the US, when you saw people kind of growing, sort of the YouTubers that have come in and sort of grown sort of a fan culture in the US, how do you feel? Like, do you feel, because I guess you feel more and sound more like someone that lives in the UK and supports Arsenal, rather than kind of the new wave of Arsenal fans that are coming through. How do you like feel about kind of 2.0, 1.0 and 2.0?
Well, okay, so first, I love the whole new wave of fans, and the reason being is like growing up in the States, as I explained, the popularity was very minimal. These YouTubers, and don't get me wrong, you still get the fair weather fans that are going to jump on when Arsenal's good, or like look how many Man City fans there are now. I mean, and I don't want to keep digging at it, but 15 years ago, they're almost getting relegated, right? So it's which is fine, but they just got a lot of money and bought everyone, and they bought their silverware, and that's fine, whatever they did, but they got a lot of just brand new fans from that. But that's okay. These YouTubers, they are bringing light to the game around the world, and especially the United States. We're so far behind everyone else. So with all the light they're bringing, I love the growth of the game. I mean, we have like academies out here now. We never had that, you know. So like Phoenix Rising's ours here. So they have the academy, and they're playing, Salt Lake City. It's not just within Phoenix, It's really grown the game. So truly, what they've done is amazing. So even if you're 50 years old and you never watched it, and you picked it up and you start watching, I love that you're a new fan. I mean, that's right. That's like, it's fantastic. The growth of the game is the most important.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And the reason I ask is because it can be quite a polarizing subject. I feel that people that are, let's just say, just more used to the more sort of traditional forms of media, watching Match of the Day. And, it's funny now that we live in a time where you can just go on YouTube or do a podcast like we are now, and, everyone's opinion matters. Whereas we were so used to having only the broadcaster's opinion matter. And, it's just interesting to get a take on it, and because I know that kind of the US scene with things like Barstool and other areas is growing so much.
Right.
Because I know obviously a lot of the sort of Expressions, Troops, and a couple of other sort of British sort of personal.
Troops was over there for a while, wasn't he? He came over.
He was a couple of years, I think, but I don't know what the exit was all to do with. But going back to how much the club has changed in the time that you have kind of supported them back in, well, I know you've supported them for a while, but back in the early 2000s to now, how do you feel do you feel like more connected with the club nowadays, or, how has your love grown?
Because, and the reason I feel more connected is like I came in on such a high. Okay, I mean that that early 2000 teams would that it's one of the greatest teams ever assembled in the history of the sport. Let's call it what it is.
Mhm.
But then we were at what 21 years with no Prem trophy, winning the Prem. I mean, I think we had what almost 10 years where we're just sort of nothing was really happening. I mean, some of the players we had on our team are just like, who? I mean, like Kim Kallstrom's coming in. I'm like, wait, what? Like, we're Arsenal. What's happening right now? I was still on my couch watching every single game. Truly, at the beginning of every single thing, we could win the league. And clearly, we had some really, really tough seasons. We were sitting around eighth and whatnot. That actually what sort of made me grow as a fan. You stick it out during the tough times. It's easy to be a fan during the great times, during the fun times. But you stick it out during then, and I just grew up. I got into it. You get into your manager mode. So I'm out there like watching other leagues because I'm hoping Arsenal will grab these kids that they talk about to bring them over to Arsenal, and so it just. I mean, I still do it. It just that I think going through that difficult period of Arsenal is what helped me really grow. And now that we're back on the up, which the one thing I get really frustrated with Arsenal fans is how bad they'll talk about Arsenal. Oh, we're not this. I'm like, do you guys not remember like 6 years ago? I'm like, are we goldfish here? Are you just forgetting everything? I'm like, we are second in the Prem. We took what third or fourth in the Champions League, the new system. I mean, we're playing freaking Real Madrid in the Champions League.
Exactly.
That is where big clubs are supposed to be, and I still get. So it's hard for me. I'm very optimistic. Yeah, I'll say I'm very optimistic, but
Same.
you should be for your team. And then when we get beat up, you don't kick them while you're down. You get your team back up, and you support your players. And you know, you know, nowhere. That's that right? Nowhere. He did play that well against United, and everyone now you're just seeing that the kid from United. Oh, he's better than him. That, and I see some Arsenal fans, and again, it's all
It's
they're
yeah.
keyboard warrior type people. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm trying to think of the kid's name over the young kid over at United, and I'm just like, no, this kid has a chance to be a top 10 player, like for years to come. I mean, he is unbelievable, but it's just like one bad game, you kick him all down. It's like that's the stuff I don't like.
Yeah, and I think that I guess because you only used to see this type of criticism in the top teams, but I feel that it's now kind of trickled into even teams that are kind of mid-table or kind of teams that come up like Ipswich and things like that. I think people have such high expectations, and we lose the human element of sport. Like if Arsenal were winning all of the time, it would be like the SPL. It would be boring.
Right.
We know that Celtic are basically going to win the league every year.
Mm-hmm.
Unless something goes catastrophically wrong, it's a non-league. Just kind of like PSG. You know they're going to win the league every year. I think that you to have real like love and passion for your club, you have to lose sometimes. I feel like when you support Arsenal, it kind of feels like you're watching a Rocky film sometimes. He does win eventually. He does get those big scalps, and if you look at this team this season, we haven't lost against a top 6 team in like 18 matches or something like that. So it's say what you want is what I'm trying to say. Say what you want, but
Right. And I mean, 8 years ago, we couldn't beat a top big. The only reason we stayed afloat at all is because we were beating everyone that wasn't a big. But since when the big games came, they just beat us, and we can never get above them.
yeah,
And now, I'll tell you now, it's the cities and Uniteds. They don't want to. They don't want to come to Emirates. That's a tough place to travel to. First off, and I'll give it to you, the fans have turned it around too in that stadium. Man, that stadium gets loud. And all the games I've been to, I've been in a couple games. I mean, it was blistering loud. It was amazing. The energy was unreal. And I'm not knocking. I shouldn't knock him, but I did go to a West Ham game, and it wasn't that. It maybe it's
it's
just
not the
that
same.
game.
It's not the same.
It just wasn't the same. And I'll say, I love the sport, and it's a new stadium. And I happen to be in. I flew over for Arsenal game, and my buddy's like, "Why don't you go to the West Ham game too?" I was like, "Is the next day?" I'm like, "Yeah, game free tickets is cool." But my passion's obviously for Arsenal, so that might have been a reason as well. But it was definitely different. But I give it to the Arsenal fans, man. They've been stepping up the last couple of years and really starting to back our boys hard and Arteta, and hopefully continue. We need to support this man. I think he's doing the right thing for us.
I'm with you. I think that the Arteta out movement is so short. It's so short-sighted, in my opinion. Just because, like, what more can you do? I know everyone will say stats and money and all of these other things, but it's irrelevant. I think ultimately, the way that he makes us both feel about the club, I don't think I've ever felt this connected to the club as a fan since he's been here. Because even with Wenger, I loved it, and we had a great team for a part of it, and then obviously a middle of the road kind of team for a bit. But I still agree with you. I think the last 5 years and the fan engagement and the fan culture and how much they've built with like the new songs and all of that other stuff that's come into it, it's good. What I feel like is, when you see players today like Lewis Skelly and Wanyeri and things like that, they feel like a throwback to when, say like Jack Wilshere and Fabregas, and they sort of came on the scene, and it's exciting. It's an exciting place to be. And like you, I'm an optimist. I mean, obviously, I know things are tough at the moment, and if I'm honest with you, I don't expect us to. I think we'll come third, maybe, because I just don't see us scoring that many goals. But I still,
You think we're third in the league?
yeah, because
Who do you have at second?
I think City could just go on a bit of a rampage. They could.
I think they're torched. I don't know.
I mean, they deserve to lose to Brighton. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. But you're right. City. See, the biggest.
They can always score. This is my point. They can always.
And they have a
City.
striker, and we don't.
That's the whole thing, right? That's the whole thing. No, like, so going back to like the heart of Arsenal and how it makes you feel then, and when you're walking up to the Emirates, and you know, between the first time you did it, between now, do you still get butterflies?
Oh my gosh! I mean, I got the first time I did it, I just did a tour. And I'm not married anymore, but I went with my ex-wife. She booked everything, and she booked an international weekend. I mean, I was like, "There's absolutely no way that you booked an international weekend," but she did. So I did a tour, and I was like, I gotta be in here when it's happening. So it was years later. My sister got married in Paris, and my buddy came with me, and because he's friends with my sisters, and so we're in Paris. I'm like, she got married on a Thursday. We had things to do Saturday, so only had Friday. She's like, Friday's sort of a free day for everyone. I look up, we're playing Fulham at the Emirates. I'm like, I'm getting on the train. I'm like, I'm taking that train. I'm going to that game. I do not care. So I went in Friday morning. We watched the game. Took off Friday night. Oh no, we took off Saturday morning. First train back because we had things to do. So we did stay the night. And I just remember walking in. I was just like, I'm home. This is where I need to be watching the games. I try to explain it to Americans, and they just don't get it. They're like, "Oh, we're so loud." I'm like, "No, I don't think you understand. There's 70,000 people chanting a song together. You guys don't do that."
Continuous.
Yeah, exactly. You have to put the away fans in their own section because it's such an intense thing. I'm like, every time I go to a game here at Arizona Cardinals game, I'm like, I'm sitting next to 49ers fans and whoever we're playing. I'm like, so that takes away because you banter a little bit, but I don't care about the banter. I'd rather have it be all Cardinals fans and like high fiving and hugging and cheering together over bantering against the team we're playing next to me. So, like as I said with that United game, I mean, I hugged like 40 men and women, tackled.
Lost your voice. Yeah, you were right in the middle of it all.
Oh, and then the other thing, honestly, I think this is one of the best parts. It's starting at the pubs and then walking down the roads. Everyone's just sort of walking together into the stadium. Like they don't do that here. And then everyone leaves together and you're just singing songs and going back to the pub. Oh my gosh. It's something that everyone will truly, truly needs to experience if you're a sports fan. Even if you're not a sports fan, it will make you one. 100%.
Yeah. You might be secretly British.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, you talk as if you've been in London your whole life or something.
And, I will say, so I have two good friends. One's a United fan and one's an Arsenal fan. And, we're on WhatsApp. I mean, we chat every day. And they both live in London now. And so at least I get some insight from them, what you guys are hearing about things. Because, obviously across the pond, it's a little different. So I need to go see them. Well, Alex has been a Arsenal fan his whole life. So he's like, this is what we're doing for the game. This is how we do it. He's a season ticket holder. So I'm also blessed enough I got that experience. You almost have a tour guide. And then the last time I went, he didn't go, but I was like, oh, I know where to go. And I mean, I had my Arsenal gear on and everyone was so welcoming because we're all fans. You're just having pints with random people you don't know and chatting about what's going to happen in the game and about the club. And then you go watch the game and, just hope for the best.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like when you walk over the bridge and then you look up and you see, the sort of banner image that wraps around the outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you just, I don't know, you feel it, don't you? Like you feel,
gosh,
there's so much anticipation. And it doesn't matter if you're watching Arsenal v Chelsea or Arsenal v Southampton or something like that. It's just happiness, isn't it?
It's happiness. It's just the whole experience. It's just I was on a high for days after. I mean, it wasn't like I woke up, I was like, oh, that's cool. I was still like, take me back to yesterday now. I'm like, I can't believe what I experienced. This is one of the best experiences of my life. And I was just like, The only sad part for me is like I know I have to fly back to America. I'm gonna be so far from the game. I was like, that's the only thing. And then I've been blessed to go to 2 games, but
Yeah.
and and like I've been to like I went to a PSG game when I was in Paris.
Oh, nice.
They have good their crowds good and stuff, but I don't. There's something about the Emirates. There's something about that feeling of it wasn't this. It's same like West Ham. You're just gonna watch a game, cool. Yes, it's a lot of fun. It's loud. Like they sing at the PSG. They all yell back and forth at each other, but it just doesn't compare. Again, I think it's because of the love for the club. But, like walking up to that stadium, I like to the Emirates. Just like as you just said, like whoa, you almost take a step back. It's massive. It's beautiful. And then obviously, you start feeling it in your body about what's in the anticipation. Walk up to PSG and then cool stadium. It's about where it's sort of where it ends.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
I understand I'm also a fan. That's why I'm biased. But yeah,
Do you know what? My favourite part of being in the stadium is when we score and you see that big flag.
yes,
I love it. I love it every time there's a goal and just that
right.
flag. Players run and slide into the corner and then you just see it and
It's just passion. The game is passion,
it is.
and it overflows onto the fans. The passion of the players of Arteta. I mean, everyone wants to dig Arteta for being passionate. I'm like when I see him running and fist pumping and hugging the other I'm like, well, yes. That's
Yeah.
what I want from my coach.
Yeah.
He truly, truly loves his club. It's not a job to him.
No.
So, but yeah, the passion that Europe has is it's phenomenal. And Arsenal's.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like the way. Here's a question actually. Be it that Arsenal come to the US a lot because of Cronkies and stuff, and they come to the US for their preseason tours. Have you experienced the games at like the SoFi Stadium and stuff like that? How did they? Yeah.
Yeah, Pasadena was the one I went to. They played America, which is a Mexican league team.
Yeah.
And they're good.
Yeah, I know them.
So yeah, okay. So that's like when oh my gosh, this is wild. This is only one I went to too. But we had I remember because Ox he scored one. I think we still have the little magician, Siski, right? And then I think we still had Santi, which might be one of the greatest Arsenal players of all time. I don't care what anyone says. That's brilliant. So is a me and Theo and all that. So I mean, Jack's my favorite player of all time. Yeah, I love Jack. I mean, that guy. True, he didn't wear the badge. He played for the badge. I mean, it wasn't on the name on the back, for him. Even though he's the smallest guy, man, he thought he was the biggest out there, and I loved it. But yeah, so I got to see all those guys, and we beat him. We beat him like 5-2, so it's awesome. You guys see the goals, and we were all cheering. Even though it was LA, very Arsenal dominant, fan wise, because I mean, LA right there,
Yeah.
And obviously between Arizona and LA, we're very Hispanic dominant. But still, so many Arsenal fans show up. We ran that stadium, and I was like, "Whoa, this is amazing!" Because it was, but I mean, it's nothing compared to the Emirates. Watching them when they're at the Emirates, it's just night and day. It was really cool because I got to see my team play, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to really see them play. I don't know when I'll be able to just get to Europe to watch them play. But yeah, it was. It made me love them even more for sure. And I feel them doing that. Like if they come this year and they're close enough, I'll take my daughters now because my daughters are 8 and 6, and they're Arsenal fans, and they don't have a choice. But because I know once I take them to a game, the love for Arsenal is going to go from here.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it becomes a family affair.
Oh yeah.
And then everyone's in on it.
Yeah, 100%. And they play. So they play the game. They love it. It's their favorites. They don't want to play softball. They do dance, piano, and soccer, and that's all they want to do. I'm like, because me and my ex-wife were very open to like, hey, I don't like it. I'm not gonna make keep warm. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna force you. And that's the one they're like, "Wouldn't you sign me up for soccer again, right, Dad?" I'm like,
You're like, are you sure? This is an easy sell. I mean, because you don't want to be saying like, oh, you can go all the way, and we
right,
could. You don't want to get them too excited, but
yeah.
secretly in your head, you're like King Richard. You're like, you're gonna make it.
Right. It's 100%. And and their mom likes it because I explain we can't just do the one thing I said, just not date scam. They need to be on a team. Being on a team, you just learn a lot about life, and it's just, I think it's very important. It goes over into work and all that. So, but yeah, it's like soccer, so I'm very thrilled.
No, I would be too. I would be too. And just touching on what he's just said then about some of the favourite players. So obviously Jack. Are there players that have broken your heart other than Thierry?
Broke, like, hurt me?
Yeah, like when they left the club or
Yeah, Van
retired.
Persie. I could punch him in the face because he went and freaking won the league right the next year with United, and I'm like, are you joking? Like, are you joking? First off, I understand the player of his caliber to move on, like a Thierry when he went to Barcelona, it hurt. Okay, but at least it was Barcelona. He didn't go to City. He didn't go to United. I mean, I know he would never even sniff Tottenham, but that's where our VP, it hurt. I'm like, and you're talking like he played with when us and United hated each other. Really, really. I mean, we do now, but I mean, like,
Yeah, no, like right,
like we're on top of the league. I mean, let's be real. That's when the Prem was the best.
yeah, yeah,
Simple as that.
exactly.
I mean, I don't think too many other fans of other clubs can really argue it. I mean, you had King versus Vieira. I mean, simple as that. That's a heavyweight bout every time they freaking went to the pitch. Like,
Yeah,
you're just like, what is going to happen? This is going to be physical. I mean, the players walked on that field goal. I'll be shocked if I'm not bleeding by the end of this game.
yeah.
Like those are.
It was war. It was
I'm not like, I YouTube those games sometimes because I'm just like, they're so fun to watch.
you and me both, and obviously it's funny because whenever if you watch like the overlap or you watch stuff with Gary Neville and stuff like that, and you see Keane now, and then I think in the past they've had like Vieira and stuff, and it's just so funny to see those two now just kind of being like, "Oh man, you're a god." Give each other attaboys, and it's just like,
Yeah.
15 years ago, you would have throttled him.
Well, man, they almost killed each other in the tunnel on that.
Yeah.
I forgot what year that was, but
Yeah.
I love King's, both those guys. You mess with one player, you mess with one player, you mess with our whole team. We'll come for you. And what's funny is that Arsenal lost that for a long time, at least a decade. I feel it's back now. And that's why I love Jack. Jack was really when we sort of became this team that you could bully, like we can never win Stoke, right? Like as they say, a cold night in Stoke, but it's because their team was so big and their game plan, like let's just go be super physical with Arsenal, and let's bully them around, and we let people bully us around. And the only player that really stood up to people I served was Jack, and that's why I loved him. And that kid was tough as nails, and probably still is. But now you have, our whole back line. We have Ben White. Go touch one of our players. Ben's gonna be in your face. Kick the ball at you. You can do something, and we need that. You get a yell for that, Ben. I'm not gonna be upset. You're back to our player because then you're what your teammates are feeling when you do that for them. But it's not just one player doing it. They all stand up for each other now. We're getting back to that. You can't bully us around anymore. We're bullying you now, actually.
Exactly. And I think, I remember when Arteta first came in, right? And I think he signed people like Ramsdale at the time because they were so vocal. And I think he started getting these like really, like Gabriel's vocal, like, we started getting people in the middle of the park who would scream at one another, like, get into him, do this, do that. And I think when you see, the players, the young players today, like Skelly and things like that, like going up to fans and giving it all that, and it's just like, you just know that the stadium's rocking, and it's a beautiful thing to see.
Right.
And that's you're right. We lost that before Mikel came because it was almost like a civil war, wasn't it? It was like for Wenger, out Wenger, and it was just going on and on and on and on. And it was kind of like a soap opera for a bit. And even if we'd win, and then the people would be like, "Oh yeah, I did say out, but he's won a few games. I'm on the fence now."
Yeah,
And then it flipped back the other way as soon as we lost to like Stoke or something. So it's a funny one.
and my thing is this with coaches, just talking about coaches real quick. It's like they have their own system, they have their own vision. For people to think, okay, yes, you have the Marinos and you got Mo, sure, Pep, but look what they walk into. They don't walk into a depleted team that's like needs some help. Let's be it. Arteta walked into, a bunny was doing weird things, going on vacation we shouldn't have. You had whatever's going with Ozil, and I don't know if it was like our higher ups. I mean, he walked into a mess, and
yeah, it was circus.
he had to clean it up and then rebuild, and that's what he's done. And I think he's been there 5 years now. And it's like that's why you can't just here's a season and a half. You're out, and it's like gotta give him a little bit of time because look where we're at now. And the other thing with Arteta, people want to play for this guy. We're an attractive club to people who want to move from their club. We're very attracted to them now. Like they want to come to ours. So, which for a while was very hard to get top talent to come to us. I remember when we got Pierre, I was like, "There's no way." I was like, "This is going to fall through. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way we're getting one of the best strikers in the world." And we did. I was like, I was blown away. I would be more shocked today if he didn't come.
Yeah.
Like we're definitely in that top 5 clubs that you want to pick, right? Challenging for Champions League, challenging for the PL title now every year, last couple of years. And it's like, that's just attractive. It's good, this is all Arteta, and we also don't know what's going on behind the scenes with him and the higher ups.
No.
Guy striker, and he probably was like screaming, "I'm getting a striker," and they're like, we don't always want to waste that money on these strikers. But all we do is point out Arteta.
Exactly that. And I think, if anything, I reckon, and obviously I don't know this for sure because I don't play for Arsenal, but not having a striker and the team having to just fight for each other, and Trossard having to just try and fill in where he can, or seeing Calafiori do what he does, or obviously Marino has been all right. And it's kind of like, as a sports fan, I actually think it's quite good to see this, because I think that when we do get a striker, because they're going to be so used to digging in deep, fighting for each other when we didn't have a striker, and how much harder they're having to work, it's only going to make them better.
Right.
I think that as a fan, I was upset on January 31st when we didn't sign a striker. I was upset because I knew that we would have sticky games like we did against, like people like Fulham or whatever it was. And I knew that there would be times where it's going to be that one goal that we just can't get, or, how we went out to United, even though we dominated, like in the FA Cup and stuff. And even United recently, which was a bit of a hairy game. But what I would say is, I think as a fan, I don't know about you, but I've actually I think because this season has been so tough, I've actually loved Arsenal even more for it. Just because the moments where we have won, despite not having, a striker, or we had our red card discipline was a bit out the window, where Declan Rice got sent off for like nothing, and all those other things.
Yeah, we're Tross.
Yeah. And it is a beautiful thing, because it is a lot of money, right? Sport, being a fan, is a lot of money, especially of football. Like, I don't know how much NFL is and things like that, or the NBA or anything like that, but it is a lot of money. And I think that that's why there's so much passion in it, because people really do, they sacrifice so much to be a fan. Obviously you've come over and, you've spent time and flights, and obviously during like kind of family occasions, and, you've sacrificed for the club. So,
right.
And I'm not saying that that's unique to football, but I think it is unique to football fans. I don't know if you could like devote a football fan that really loves the club like you and I do, because
and the thing too is this: there's things such as like little things, like the passion of the players obviously goes in the passion of fans, but you can tell that the players play for the fans, and they truly, truly actually appreciate their fans. The one thing, and it's such a small thing, but after every game, the players go and applaud the fans for being there. You'll never see that here in America. Those guys run off the court as fast as they can. Get me out of here. Get me in my car, get me home. They're like, no, hey, thank you for being here. Hey, we just got our freaking ass kicked 3-0, and I'm gonna applaud. Thank you for being here for us. So, we still hear you chanting and are bad. Even like when I saw the thing with AC Milan, when I forgot their hardcore fans are called, but they chewed out the team that one time because Giroud was on that team at the time. And they chewed him out. He's like, "You guys didn't play with passion, and we're here screaming for you, And all the players listen to the fans. They okay, sorry, it won't happen again. And now they're doing pretty dang good. So, but yeah, it's just it's as you said, it's not cheap. When you can tell when players they put all out there, and as you said, in a situation like this right now where we don't have a striker, Moreno's up top, these guys are fighting for each other. And that's why I think it is actually probably pretty important that we get exactly the right striker, because if someone comes in and thinks they're not going to be part of this team and be the star, it ain't going to work. Our team, we have fought through. I mean, we don't have a striker right now. I mean, how many injuries do we have? It's crazy. We don't even have, we don't have Sacco. And these boys are still fighting. We're still in second. We're going up against Real Madrid. It's truly a team. There's no individuals on this team at all right now.
That's a really strong point. That is a really strong point. You could look at other teams, and do you know when they're called like a one-man team, i.e. Bruno Fernandes FC, or
100%.
Or when during PSG times, it'd be Kylian Mbappe FC.
Right.
There isn't that at Arsenal, and again, I think that's a really cool thing because
it's amazing, and yeah, it's. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, you want the big stars on your team for sure, but for me, I played the game, so when I see Martinelli in a full-out sprint to get back, okay, yeah, I know he's nowhere near Mbappe, but you know what? I don't care. No offense. I love seeing that. That makes me happy. That makes me also a happy part of this game. Yes, I want to win, but when I see the whole team working together like that, and if you ain't doing that, and I see Gabriel screaming at you like, "Hey, let's go! What are you doing?" I love that stuff.
Yeah. I'm with you. And then just kind of thinking towards, I would say your dream, other than obviously winning. Okay, here's for you, right? Would you rather win the Premier League or the Champions League?
Champions League. And the only reason is because the only argument from all the other big clubs is where's your European trophy? And I just want them. That's it. They won't talk about us in the Prem because we're the Invincibles. We've done something no one's ever done. But so the only argument they have is you don't have a Champions League trophy. And they're right. And we don't. Now, we should have, because clearly that Barcelona game was...
Yeah.
Yes, and it's funny. Actually, I saw someone today, and that's one of the main games that they said there's VAR. Arsenal's probably lifting that trophy. So, because 100%. That red card, they said Eto'o was off. Didn't get called. Yeah, it's actually off on both goals, what they said. Yeah, so see, I don't know. That's a hard one because
it's a good one, isn't it?
It is a good one. But as for today, both the league starting as today. Today was Prem starting, Champions League starting. It could be Champions League today.
Yeah. No. Okay. I get that. I think. Yeah, I get that. Just because Chelsea have won it, Liverpool have won it, And do you know what the worst thing is? Is one of the most painful matches for me is when we lost to Chelsea in the Europa League final.
Yeah.
In Baku, and because I felt like we could win that. At the time, I felt like we can do this because that was Unai, and I thought, well,
it says Emery. Yeah.
This is what he does. If you look at Sevilla, Valencia, all of that, I was like, that's his cup.
Right.
And for us
he's a great coach.
He is. Do you know what? When he was the Arsenal manager, I know he got ridiculed for his accent and all of that other stuff, but I still felt it. Do you know that love for Arsenal? I think he did as well. I think he did what he could with.
He got treated That's fair. It wasn't. It wasn't. He didn't get treated right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Arteta came in right after him, correct?
We did.
I just think they probably. I think Arteta was their plan before him.
Yeah.
It wasn't ready, and I just think Arteta's like, "Hey, I'm ready now." And they're like, "Okay, you've been our plan for a couple years. I mean, you've been sitting under Pep for 4 or 5 years. Like, yeah, let's see if you can bring some of that Pep brain over here." And he has. You could tell. I mean, you could tell he was trained under
Yeah.
Pep for sure.
100%. Everything from the dress style to the interview mind games, or dark arts as they like to call them, and just the swagger, the charisma. He just, yeah, he has it. He has it. That's really cool. And part of these chats is just getting to find out why people love the club, and it's been really cool just hearing about your first time at the Emirates, like how it feels, and going to the pub, and just that true connection with the fans is a wonderful thing. And I also love just hearing about the fact that you played the game and how you adopted you played it as a player, and then you kind of got an ex-Arsenal player to then was a rival coach, and then that's kind of what stirred your curiosities.
I want to say one more thing. I have to say, so I was just seeing my daughters here. They play soccer. They'll watch the men's team with me. They love it. But the second I put on the ladies, I'm not allowed to change the channel. And so I watch our ladies all the time. I love it because we actually get the ladies here now. So,
Yes.
so any chance I get to watch them, I'll watch them. But my daughters, so Arsenal ladies, if you guys ever see this, you guys are doing an amazing thing for the women over here in the United States, and our girls. They are obsessed, and they just can't believe what these women can do. And my daughter's 8 and 6, so they look up and be like, "Dad, did you see how far she kicked this year?" And we have, we had some really good players, and they put them back in that net, and it just gets. Then they're like, "Can we go to the park and play?" Like so. It's really cool to see the growth of that women's game as well. I'm a girl dad. I truly appreciate that, and how good the girls are for us. And they're fun to watch, so it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and just on that sort of sentiment, it's a relationship that you and your daughters will have for a lifetime. You're always going to be connected through football, and also those memories that you have of them watching a game, then going to the park. You can cherish that forever, and it's going to be it's cool. It's so cool to be a parent, and well, not that I have kids, but be a parent of kids that have children that are deeply into sport because of players that they see on screen and wanting to be them. And yeah, I do you know what? I hadn't really kind of factored that in, but it's a really nice way to sum up the impact that this football club is having on your family.
Right.
It's
It's
you know
amazing. And like with Arsenal ladies, I mean, they're good. So it's like, and I think it's Mead that we have, right? Mead.
yeah, Beth Mead,
Yeah, Beth Mead. And she's great. And so my daughters are like, "Well, who's that?" And I'm like, "It's me, Beth Mead." And I go, "She's because she's sort of goal or something." I'm like, and like, "Dad, she's amazing." I'm like, "She is amazing." When the boys come on, they're just like, "Oh, this is cool," and like, but they get so into the women. I'm like, for me, I'm like, "That's Saka." I'm like, "Oh, Dad, those are the boys." I'm like, "Yeah." So it's great. Yeah, the whole what Arsenal. Yeah, that is a great point. Arsenal has a full 100% impact on my family, from my two little daughters to me, and I know how close I am with me and my best friends meet up to watch it. We go to the pubs here. I made friends through it. I've turned people to Arsenal fans. My buddy's literally just at the game, and yeah, I played softball with him. And I'm like, "Dude, you gotta watch Arsenal." And he's like, "Well, I'm going to London." I'm like, "Go to an Arsenal game." He went to the game. He literally flew back. Oh my gosh, who did we just play? I think we beat like 2-0, right?
we did. It was. This is really bad. I've actually forgotten. This international break, I've forgotten. It was Chelsea. Yeah, of course it was. Oh, they done nothing. That was their worst. I now remember. Yeah, because that was their worst, attacking like thing under Maresca. That was the worst that they've ever played in terms of their attacking input.
And I'm like, "You're at the Chelsea, or you're at the Arsenal Chelsea game?" He's like, "Yeah, I flew out for it." He's like, "Dude, I'm addicted." He's like, "It's addicting." I'm like, I told you, and he never watched the sport. And now he watches every game on Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at his house. And here we wake up between 4:30 and
I was gonna say, and that's commitment. That's the type of stuff that I would do for, say, the WWE or do for F1 or something like that.
Right.
It's so it means something when you do that as well, because you plan your whole day around it.
Right. It's yeah, I will say, man, it's if you go out on Friday at 4:30 wake up's pretty early, but it's worth it. So.
I have to ask you one more question, actually, because I think it'd be a cool little insight. So when you're watching Arsenal, what is your pre-game or what's your sort of snack ritual? Like, what's your go-to foods?
Honestly, nothing. I can't eat. I get so with Arsenal, I just get way too nervous for every game, so I have zero appetite.
Mm-hmm.
What I do, I take a shower right before. So if it's like I'll wake up at 4:15. I have to shower, clear my mind. This is so ridiculous. You think I think I'm a manager. I'm in there thinking how we could win the game and who needs to score and like what we need to do. And then I come out, I put on my Arsenal gear, and I sit down. And everyone knows that if you're not in watching the game, you're in a different room until that game's over. My daughter's like, they'll come out here and start playing. I'm like, playroom. I'm like, I love you too, but you have 90 minutes and we're going to the park. Don't worry. But yeah, really, I get my appetite suppressed because I'm just so nervous.
Yeah.
Even if we're playing Fulham, Fulham's actually, they're doing pretty damn decent.
They're Arsenal.
Honestly. But Reece can't play against us, right? Because he's out on loan.
Reece is injured.
Was he injured?
Yeah, he wouldn't have been able to. But obviously, they still got Leno, Wobie, Smith Rowe. Sadly,
I know. I loved him.
I know.
But they have Leno, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said we're good. So that's funny. But yeah, I get too nervous. It's a shower. Yeah. I try to vision how we're gonna win and watch the game.
That's good. It's almost like manifesting it and then willing it into existence. I like it. To be fair, I was gonna say at one point during this was like, how do you react to the losses? But yeah, do you know what? I just don't care. I just don't care.
Yeah, it's not good. No, you know what? I'll tell you this. I've matured a little bit. I used to ruin my day. I get frustrated. I call if I don't watch my buddies. We all get on the phone. We chat on like what we could have done better in the game. We chat about the game, and I think it's sort of let's just go. And then we're all pretty positive people, so we're like, all right, we got next week. We'll come back. We're not out of I literally just got a text from Roland saying, dude, we're not out of the Prem yet.
No, I mean,
he's just like he's a brilliant dude. He's like, I don't care what people say. Mathematically, we're not out. We're not out. I'm like, you're 100% right. We have a chance. I think Leicester City won it that year. I'm telling you right now, we still have a chance to win it this year. I don't care what people say.
It's true, and if you think about it, I know it's not the same year, but I remember when Newcastle back in the 90s were top of the league, and they were 12 points ahead of Man United, and they still lost it.
Yeah,
it can happen. Possible. And Liverpool, obviously, in the last 2 weeks, have gone out of like 3 cups.
I know.
They've done it at Arsenal.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. That's another thing. Everyone's like, you talk about everyone's saying Arsenal or bottlers, but you guys have not said one thing about Pool.
Yeah.
They went on number 1 in the Champions League, and they got kicked out by PSG, who we beat 2 or 3-0,
comfortably.
So I guess they're bottlers as well. So.
We'll leave it there. We are not the only bottlers, but honestly, JJ, it's been really cool chatting to you, and it's been really nice just to find out, just about like your story of being an Arsenal fan. How it kind of compares to being in the US to here, and all I can say is whenever I hear North London forever, it's a different. It's different.
I'll show you one thing right here.
Oh my God, you got the yes.
I got that done in London after the game.
Really?
Huh?
Wow.
Yeah.
That is. I love it.
It's my, when we score, I get to kiss my team, baby.
I love it. I love it. No, honestly, it's nice because you sometimes, as a sports fan, if you're the only one in your friendship group like I am that supports Arsenal, you have nowhere to go to with all this like love. You wanna be like, yes, and get into the team and stuff like that. So no, it's amazing just to have this experience, because I remember when I spoke to Sophie and I was like, I want to do this, and yeah, I'm buzzing. It's really, really cool just to be able to talk about this. So thank you.
No, I appreciate it. It's been a good time.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.